Okay, so let's make some virtual servers. I'm gonna open up my Hyper-V manager. Just one thing, I think virtualization's like really cool. So any chance I get to virtualize, I think it's kind of fun just to do some virtual machines. I've got a couple virtual machines running on this machine right here. I've got a test 2008 DC. I've got a Windows 7 machine that I can actually show you right quick. See, and it's pretty much an operating system within an operating system. I'm running Windows 8 on this machine, but because of the virtuals, let me show you just to prove it. Windows 8. So I'm running Windows 8 on this machine, but because of the virtuals, I am able to do this. So I just think it's kind of cool, and this is another machine. You know, here's your operating system. Let me close out of this because I don't need to have this running. We'll just go ahead and shut this down. Excuse me. Okay, back to where I was. So Hyper-V Manager. Right here, this is my host machine. So what I want to do, sorry. So what I want to do is I want to create a new virtual machine. So I can go up here to Action, or I can just right click New. I'm going to create a new virtual machine. So I'm sorry if I go a little bit too fast through this. You can always pause the video. But right here, here's going to be my name of my virtual machine. So for the naming convention of our servers, I'd like to do, let's just start with this first one. So the first one is the domain controller and exchange server. So I'm thinking about calling this DC and then EXCH for exchange and then SRV for server. We can change this at a later date if you guys want to, but for right now, that's kind of what I want to do. And then that little box right there, I don't want to save it on my C drive because I have a separate partition set out for that. So we are going to go to the partition that I created for it. And that was on the D drive. Oh, let me move this back over to my backup. Hold on a second. That has an ISO on there of 2008 data center. Okay, sorry, let me delete this again. Okay. So I want to create a new folder on here just so it's stored. And I'm gonna call it DC Exchange SRV. So now all of my virtual server document, everything, settings are going to be located in that folder on the D drive. Next, this is memory allocation. So currently in this server, it has 8 gigs of memory. And I know we're not actually going to be using this, but I'm trying to think of how I would actually give out memory for these two servers, because both servers are going to need a lot of memory, but Exchange needs the most memory. So I think for this server, I'm going to give it 4 gigabytes. So 4096, and we'll just kind of verify that. I want 1 gig at 1024 megs a gig. Oh, I want 4 gigs, sorry, times 4. So 4096 megabytes, so that's 4 gigs. Next, This is for the virtual switch or the virtual NIC card. I'm going to set this up later. I'll show you. But for right now, we'll just leave that to not connected because we don't need to connect to the internet just to install the operating system. Because when I create this virtual machine, there's not going to be any operating system on it. It's just going to be like a brand new machine without anything installed on the hard drive. So we have to install the operating system. I'm going to show you that. For right now, I'm just going to leave this not connected because I don't need a virtual NIC quite yet. Okay, so now create a virtual hard disk. So basically what this is it's creating a virtual, it's exactly what it said. It says it's a virtual hard disk. This is all of the data that's going to be stored on the hard drive if this were an actual physical server. So try to imagine you have a physical domain controller and it has a hard drive on it. That's basically what this virtual hard disk is. It's the same hard drive, but it's virtualized. I understand. I hope you guys do too. I can explain it more in class if you want me to. But that's basically what it is. And I'm going to name the virtual hard drive. I'm just going to leave it DC Exchange SRV.VHD. VHD virtual hard disk. That's the file extension. This is where it's going to be located. That's fine. It's within the folder that I created earlier. And this size, it's dynamically expanding. What that means is if we ever get more data than 127 gigabytes, it'll automatically expand itself. So leaving it at 127 gigs, I can do that. I can leave it there. And if we ever do get more than 127 gigs in this particular server, which I don't think we'll get anywhere near close, but we'll just leave it there and it'll expand if it needs to. So now we're selecting our operating system. So what I want to do, because I installed a optical drive on this server today, so we do have an optical drive here, and in the drive I do have a disk image file of Server 2008 R2 data center. So this is good to go. I'm just going to select the media that I want to install as an operating system. See, it's really cool. This is where I'm installing the operating system right here on my G drive. Next. And there's just basically an overview. And everything looks right to me. So I'm going to click Finish. Now it's going to create the virtual hard disk. And there's our virtual machine. It's not started yet because you can see the state is off. So I'm going to create a second virtual server doing exactly what I did right there, but I'm just going to rename a couple things, and the second server is going to be called FP SRV for file print, because it also has to host a print server. So I'm also going to, file print, so file services and the printer server, and all of that's going to be on that other virtual server. So I think for right now, I'm just going to cut the video because I created the virtual server. Now I'll create another video where I'm kind of installing the operating system on the DC Exchange server.